12 minutes to 8 o'clock on this Wednesday morning here on Morning News Today. Now, today is World Theatre Day in celebration of theatre professionals, organisations and the art form itself. Well, the International Theatre Institute says it's also a reminder to governments to recognise theatre's potential to add to economic growth. The day has been celebrated since 1961. Well, on home soil, the Marker Theatre Foundation remains at the forefront of producing an authentic African artistic voice. Well, joining us this morning is the Foundation's CEO, Ismael Mohamed. Ismael, good morning.
Good morning.
Thanks for your time this morning. Happy World Theatre Day.
Thank you very much.
So, what is this? Let's talk about South Africans and how we view theatre and whether we really are going and watching plays and whether we do have an interest. I know back in the day we did. Are we still doing that?
Theatre is an integral part of South African democracy. Our democracy was born out of theatre. During the dark days of apartheid, when the Market Theatre was established as a completely non-racial theatre, when legislation to separate audiences but legislation to separate artists was still in place, the theatre became a meeting place, not just for people but for ideas. And it was in that space where we began to work with productions like Sarafina, with Woza Albert, with The Island, where we engaged with our society and we began to find out about the other, that we came closer towards beginning to aspire for the kind of democracy that we would want to have post-1994.
And our theatres, you're right, come with so much history. I mean, every theatre has a backstory and we go back so far. But I have to wonder, are we, as South African audiences, do we have a preference more for international shows that hit our shows? We only go with, when those shows come here, and we're not really interested in what is produced locally. Are we throwing our weight behind our local artists?
I think with regard to music artists, we still have South Africans to a large extent that would rush to buy tickets for a big name international music star. But I think with theatre, it's the other way around. That South Africans do want to go into a theatre space. They enjoy the intimacy of a close 100-seater venue or a 200-seater venue. They want to be stimulated. They want to engage with the content. So it is quite a difference. But I think a lot of that also has to do with the fact that when we came out of a cultural boycott, we wanted to suddenly rush to see the big musicals that we did not see.
We heard about on Broadway.
On Broadway, and when people travelled overseas. But, we're now past that phase, and we're beginning to go more for homegrown product.
So what are the stories that people are most interested in? Or are we tired of the South African story? Are we tired of it?
Not at all. I think South African artists are incredibly innovative in terms of the style of theatre they create. They're constantly evolving new ways of telling stories. But we're also beginning to discuss new things on our stages, and particularly with a younger generation of artists who in some ways are reclaiming our history, reinterpreting that history, but beginning to reimagine a new kind of democracy, because we have been through a tumultuous period over the last, I think, 9 or 10 years in our democracy. And once again, we begin to find the theatre becoming the space where young people are leading us into a conversation.
Okay, and while we lead each other into those conversations, do we also want to escape it sometimes? Is that also
I think we certainly do. And I think the magic of theatre is that you can decide to go in because you want to be stimulated or you simply want to escape. And I think Johannesburg, as a vibrant city, and as a global city, does offer us enough theatre to go in and to sit and to say, I want to be stimulated, I want to be challenged, but also just to escape, to laugh, to enjoy life, and to forget that around us there are problems. So
what are we doing to mark World Theatre Day? Anything significant happening?
At the Market Theatre, we have the Tribangi Dance Festival that starts. It's a multicultural dance festival headed by one of South Africa's leading dance proponents, J.S. Primupin. Her company from the early 80s has been at the forefront of experimenting new work. And she's built a reputation both locally and internationally. And it's wonderful for us at the Market Theatre to have her here. But I think one of the important things about this particular day is that it's a culmination of a week, because it started really on the 20th of March with Take a Child to the Theatre Day. Then it incorporated Puppetry Day, and it incorporated other forms of theatre, and culminates today as World Theatre Day, which includes all forms all genres. But I think, you know, even if one looks at the Kaka and Car Festival in Oudtshoorn, in the Western Cape, it started on Take a Child to the Theatre Day on the 20th of March, and it ends today on the 27th of March. And that, I think, is a significant statement that we're not just seeing the arts as that moment of we're providing you with some form of entertainment, but it's an important part of town growth, of economy, of providing opportunities, not just for artists on stage, because what the theatre does is that it provides a spin-off economy for many others, whether it's the man on the street who looks after your cars, the popcorn lady, the costumier, everyone else.
And then just very quickly, I want to know, would you encourage a future in theatre? Because many go, oh, there's no money in theatre. But I was a drama student, I mean, for obvious reasons. But, but would you say, take a chance and get into theatre?
I started in one of the most, what you would consider a parent saying, go and do that. I started off in mathematics. I would not change my career ever again. I've been in theatre for the last 35 years, and I have absolutely no regrets about it. I found joy. I found everything that I want in theatre, a life.
Okay, so if you're uncertain about what you want to do, try theatre. It is World Theatre Day, so give it a bash. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's Ismael Mohamed joining us this morning just to chat about World Theatre Day and what it means for us, how far we've come in South Africa when it comes to theatre.